I want you to think about when a difficult conversation is occurring, what is your natural reaction? So I'm gonna just name it. Most of us don't do that naturally, but that doesn't mean we haven't learned to do that naturally. Most of us will either fight, flight, or freeze. We've all heard of that kind of idea before. So when we have a difficult conversation, we're usually going to fall into one of the three naturally. And if you could all acknowledge just what yours is to you. You don't have to name it, but I just want to see that, does everyone see where they are? Or do I need to describe each one because this isn't a great description?
Just maybe face.
Okay, so face is more, so defend is hold your position with somebody. Connected is that you don't disconnect from the connection just because you don't like the conversation. So you're staying present and connected for the uncomfortable conversation, and you persevere, because I read it and now I can't say it right. Persevere in my gate, which means you negotiate. You're maintaining contact, so there's a negotiation to take place. When we're freezing, we actually just go blank. We can't think. We can't respond. We become unavailable, even though we're present. When we're flight, if we know there's a difficult conversation, we do everything to avoid it, which we've already discussed is not helpful when we're managing people. Either is fighting, which is that we go into blame. So we go into assign the blame. You did this, you did that. We go into make it somebody else's responsibility. We naturally do one of these three most of the time. Face is usually doesn't come up naturally for us in difficult situations. It's usually something we do when we're comfortable. We're quite happy facing things when we're comfortable, but usually when we're uncomfortable or there's a difficult conversation or we're expected to give feedback that we find difficult, we're likely to fall into one of the other three. Okay? Does that make sense? Does anyone have a different understanding or a question before we use this exercise? No. Would you have thought about yourselves in this way, that when there's difficult conversations, you're probably reacting and justifying it in some way? Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do is in groups of three, but I'm actually going to ask to mix up the groups now. Try and be with someone you haven't been with today before you move. I'm going to ask you to all have a piece of paper. So either have your journal that we've given you or have a piece of paper. And I want you in groups of three to discuss what you think would support you when facing a difficult conversation to face it as opposed to react, because these are three reactions. So I want you with two other people to start thinking about what would help you be able to face the difficult conversation more effectively. So basically, what is it you need to be able to do this when you're facing conversations you find difficult? What would help you? And I want you to help each other. This is a little bit of a coaching experience. So you're talking about what you think you need, and then somebody might say, would this help as well? Would that help? So solution-focused conversation about how all three of you in the conversation can move into this, what you need to be able to face into difficult conversations. Okay? So try and find at least one person you haven't been in a group with today